out.
We're back with Apple CEO Tim. Obviously, the atmosphere, the rhetoric in the country around immigration is very intense right now. And I saw an interesting story about colleges reporting on the numbers for foreign students applying to the U.S. And there's been an appreciable decline, right? And that clearly seems to be related to the rhetoric coming from the White House, particularly. Apple's a company that employs a lot of immigrants. What are you guys seeing on the front lines? Is it harder to recruit people to come here given the current political environment?
Yeah, I think on the student visa piece, I think part of it is the rhetoric. I think part of it is the cost of college is too high. Right. And that not only affects our folks domestically, but it affects the international as well. And there are other international schools that are, becoming more competitive as well. But here's what we're seeing. I talked to a lot of folks in our company. The DACA situation is one that I am personally, as an American, deeply offended by. The DACA situation is not an immigration issue. It's a moral issue. This is a moral issue. This is one that goes to the core of who we are as Americans. Who among us would think that it's the right thing to do to kick somebody out of this country that came here when they were 1, 2, 3 years old, that have only known this country as their home, no other country is their home? This just doesn't make any sense. And so I don't like that the gun was ever fired here. It should have never been fired.
In terms of revoking,
gun. It should have
the president
never been
should not have
revoked.
revoked it.
The Attorney General should not have revoked it. Whoever revoked it should not have done this. This is... And I don't see this as a partisan issue. This is not about whether you're red or blue, conservative or liberal. This is about America, right? This is that simple. And so I'm very disappointed with both parties that they have not acted.
What have you been doing? You had met with President Trump. You had different meetings with him, talked about these issues. You brought up DACA. What are you all doing now? Because you didn't think it would get this far, presumably. But what can you do now? You spent a lot of time on all kinds of other things.
You know,
I was
just on the Hill a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and this was a subject in every meeting I had. Because at this stage, the people who can change this are inside the Beltway. And so all of us that feel passionately about this have to put our emphasis on those people that can vote. And we've got to bring them to action.
How?
Both people privately are telling both parties, everybody I'm meeting with, regardless of whether they have an R by their name or a D, are telling me that they do not want any of the DACA folks to leave this country.
All right.
Okay.
But they're not doing anything.
Right.
And that has to change.
What can Apple or all the tech industry or people with you have some influence, what can you actually do?
You push on Congress and you push on the administration.
You're lobbying on this?
Oh, absolutely. I'm personally lobbying on this. I mean, this is... I think that without rancor, people can discuss the future immigration strategy for the United States.